What if the biggest transportation revolution in human history was hiding beneath the ocean and almost nobody talks about it? Imagine waking up in New York at 7 a.m. You grab a coffee, leave your apartment, and arrive at your office in London before most people finish breakfast. Impossible? Not exactly. The strange part is that the technology needed to make this happen isn't pure science fiction. The real mystery is why we haven't done it already. Right now, crossing the Atlantic means spending hours on a plane. But what if there was a tunnel connecting entire continents? It sounds insane. Yet humanity has already built a smaller version. The Channel Tunnel links England and France beneath the sea, allowing travelers to cross in minutes without ever seeing the ocean. But here's where it gets interesting. That tunnel is only about 50 kilometers long. A tunnel from New York to London would stretch more than 5,500 kilometers, over 100 times larger. So how would we even begin building something that enormous? The obvious solution would be digging beneath the ocean floor. But that's where the nightmare begins. Engineers would need to bore through thousands of kilometers of rock under crushing pressure. One mistake, one structural weakness, and the entire project could become the most expensive disaster in history. What happens next changes everything. Instead of digging under the Atlantic, what if we built the tunnel inside the ocean itself? A gigantic tube stretching across the sea, suspended underwater, anchored to the ocean floor. It sounds impossible, but compared to drilling through an entire continent beneath miles of water, it might actually be the smarter option. And that's when things start getting really strange. Now imagine the tunnel is finished, a massive steel tube crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The question is, what travels through it? Cars? Not even close. Planes? They wouldn't fit. The answer is something far more powerful. A vacuum train. And this is where it gets weird. Inside the tunnel, most of the air would be removed. That means almost no air resistance, almost no friction, almost nothing slowing the vehicle down. Then magnetic systems would lift the train completely off the track. No wheels, no contact, just pure motion. Suddenly, speeds that seem impossible become realistic. Thousands of kilometers per hour. Fast enough to make modern transportation look ancient. But here's the catch. Just because a train can travel at 8,000 kilometers per hour doesn't mean humans should. At those speeds, even tiny mistakes could become catastrophic. So engineers would likely limit the train to around 2,000 kilometers per hour. Still nearly twice the speed of sound. Still fast enough to cross the Atlantic in under an hour. Think about that for a second. A trip that currently consumes half a day could become shorter than your morning commute. But that's not even the craziest part. Because the real impact isn't transportation. It's what happens to civilization itself. Suddenly distance stops mattering. Countries become closer. Businesses expand globally overnight. Entire industries transform. Cities separated by oceans begin functioning almost like neighboring regions. Human geography gets rewritten. And then comes the twist nobody expects. For most of history, oceans acted like barriers. They separated cultures, controlled trade, limited movement. But a transatlantic tunnel would erase one of Earth's greatest natural obstacles. And that's when everything changes. Imagine living in America while working in Europe. Imagine attending a business meeting in London and returning home to New York before lunch. Imagine supply chains moving faster than ever before. The global economy could evolve into something entirely new. But here's the strange part. The engineering challenge may not be the biggest obstacle. Money might be. Projects like the Channel Tunnel already cost billions. Scale that up over 100 times. Add advanced vacuum systems, magnetic levitation technology, ocean anchoring infrastructure, maintenance across thousands of kilometers. The final price could reach levels almost impossible to comprehend. Yet, throughout history, humanity has repeatedly built things once considered absurd. Skyscrapers, space stations, moon missions, the internet. Every one of them sounded impossible before they existed. So maybe the question isn't whether a tunnel between continents can be built. Maybe it's whether humanity eventually decides it's worth building. Because if we ever connect Europe and North America with a near-supersonic transportation system, the world afterward won't look anything like the world before. And that leaves us with one final question. If oceans stopped separating continents, what other limits that seem permanent today could